Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, this is Dr. Keith McNally, and this is part 5 of my 6-part series for effective learning strategies using PBL content. Now, this is for anybody out there who's in a learning situation or just wants to get better at something that puts you in a learner's mindset. And so we either call it lifelong learning or growth mindset, or quite literally, you could be in school, and that's all good too, because that really does put you in a focal position in that somebody's trying to share information with you, share knowledge with you, and you just may be struggling to pick it up, learn it, do it, apply it, and all those other things. So I like to use project-based learning strategies for all of that. And well, one, because I find it valuable. Two, there's so many ways you can apply PBL strategies to just about every part of our lives. So when you think you can't do something, then it's time that you need to find a way to do it. And so this kind of gives us a way to do something. Now, today, I want to talk about self-reflection, but not in terms of how to do it, but why it's important. So let's go back to the first 4 things that we talked about. Then I'll talk about self-reflection, and then I'll give you a hint as to what we're going to talk about in my last vlog of the series. So first, we talked about risk taking and why it's okay to fail. And we don't usually talk like that. We said, well, failing is bad. Well, failing is part of the learning process. And so you have to get away from the fear of failure because it's simply a part of the learning process. And so I talked about my daughter's going through a learning phase that she wants to learn how to roller skate. And there's a lots of trial and error in learning how to roller skate. But again, that's a story for another day, and I think that day is past. Number 2, I talked about collaboration. So essential to your learning experience. And as we go into the real world of work, you're going to be put into teams, whether you like it or not. Make the most of it, but be a good team player. So, of course, the easy analogy or metaphor is to look at sports teams and how well they're organized in order to accomplish the goal. And usually that goal is to win a game. In the same way, teams either in academic or work environments are established to do one thing, to do something. Regardless of what that is, they're doing something. But being a team player usually is not an innate skill. We have to learn how to be a team player, which means we have to learn how to use certain words, inflect body language a certain way, play a part, delegate, lead, follow, and trust, and all those things I've talked about. Then I also talked about inquiry. Number 3 was asking questions. Learn to ask questions. Questions are good. Questions are a good thing. I always think questions are a good thing. It's what drives and motivates us to find answers. Okay. And then yesterday I talked about, let me check my notes, lifelong learning, challenging yourself to be a lifelong learner. So what are those components that will keep you growing, moving forward and not backwards? Because typically when we stop learning, when we stop doing something new, we're really then in the regressive state of going back to where we were. And we don't really want that. Those of us who are kind of are motivated, type A personalities, want to take charge, get things done, be better tomorrow than we were today, there's always something new to learn. So again, growth mindset or lifelong learning. Now I want to pull back the reins a little bit because those are the 4 do things. You 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 take risks, okay? You collaborate and work with others. You ask questions and then you plan to progress forward. But in order to make the full use of the learning experience, you have to reflect. And number 5 is all about self-reflection. Now, this can come from 2 different sources, but I want to focus on you being able to think about your own self. Now, oftentimes we get feedback from others. We tend to get a lot of feedback from others, good and bad. And it's easy then to, and typically we get a lot of negative feedback. So we get criticized a lot for you didn't do this right, or you didn't do that right, or you should have done this better. And that we could talk about another day. Because what happens is when we constantly hear negative things about ourselves, we tend to reflect negatively upon ourselves. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't know how to learn that. I can't learn that. I can't learn something new. And that's really all wrong. Okay. There's no other way to put that. That's just wrong. Okay. So we want to get out of that. And this video right now is not about the how to, it's just the importance of looking back at yourself, things that you've done, things that you're trying to learn, and navigate both the positive and the negative. So the positive is always a good place to start. You do things well. You can do things well. Think about the things that you do well, and not just that you do them well, put that in context. Who is your support system? What did you know to do at an appropriate time? How did you learn how to do this? What are those key elements that helped you get to where you are? Those things you need to think about. They're not necessarily innate, they're just not natural. Okay. Something happened. They were in context. There were variables associated with your success at any point in time. You need to be able to identify them because you want to be able to replicate them. And again, this is not a how to, this is a why. This is why it's important. Because when you can replicate your past successes, you could increase the amount of future successes that you will have. That's a good rule to follow. On the flip side of the coin, you could then say, well, I didn't do this well. And that's where you use your metacognitive skills. Why? Why didn't you do it well? Was there not enough support? Was there not enough data? Was it the wrong time? Was it the wrong this? Was it the wrong that? When you start identifying the specific things that were involved in a problem, error, or situation that didn't go well, you could then find the solutions to those specific problems. Going back to inquiry, ask questions, collaborate with others, take risks, but you have to be able to do that and do it well in order to be successful. And so that's really all I wanted to talk about. These videos have been going on for 8, 9, 10 minutes. And if you're watching them all the way through, I applaud you. Next time we come back, I'm going to talk about number 6, the 6th strategy to be successful at learning, and it's teaching others. I'll see you then. Take care.